Welcome to this episode of Your Property Business, the video podcasts that help you get the most out of your own property business.
Got a couple of thoughts that's in my mind. So going back to the 18-year-old with a little bit of money to do something with, it feels to me that's slightly unusual for you to buy a property. So what was it that made you do that and not buy something else?
To go out party, yeah.
Why? Yeah. Why even consider that? Where did that mentality come from? How did you get in that in your head?
So I have to thank my parents. Like, I can't take too much credit when really I was an 18-year-old. You know, 18-year-olds are like, you can barely get out of bed in the morning, let alone go and go buy a property.
Yeah.
They had purchased buy-to-lets in the past. Again, nothing too fancy, really plain vanilla buy-to-lets. And nothing where you would look at it these days. If you were a seasoned property investor, you would look at that and you would probably say that's not a great investment. Like, it's not a very good ROI. There's not a huge amount you can do to push up value, and there's not a huge amount you can do to cash flow those properties to cover your rent and to generate an income. For the most part, their aim was to buy properties and have the mortgages paid off over 15, 20 years. Very, very simple, very low risk, and the type of properties they bought absolutely reflected that. And I'd seen that. So I'd seen what they had done. Again, not on a huge scale, but I'd seen it work. And then it came around to the point where, okay, suddenly now I'm eligible to receive lending. That was the key thing, was turning 18. I'm eligible for lending and I've got an income. And so suddenly it was like, okay, well, now you can do this if you want to. They advise it as a relatively safe idea. But the downside, certainly from my perspective, was that I bought that place in 2007. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 2007.
Okay, we all know what happened around that time.
We all know what happened in 2008. Yeah, so I was locked in to a very expensive mortgage product whilst the rest of the economy tanked, and my rate suddenly became horrendous. And I'm then an 18-year-old on, I was earning decent money, actually. I was actually working at the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital. I always say it was one of the best jobs I ever had. I loved it. I was working in the operating theatres. I could do as much overtime as I could manage, and I wasn't really much of a sort of, I still went out with my friends, but I wasn't like spending loads of money. I've never been a drinker. I'm teetotal. This sounds pretty boring, but it's just, for no other reason other than I'm not really that bothered about alcohol. Yeah. And as a result, my expenditure was relatively low. I was still living at home at the time, and my aim was just to, if I can weather this storm, get through the sort of the dip.
Were your mortgage payments higher than your rental?
Yes.
So you were paying for it at that point.
So I had to not only, I had to maintain enough income to make sure I was covering my mortgage. And that was quite scary, as an 18-year-old. I think that certainly changed my mentality slightly from, this is just something I'm doing, to, okay, this is something I'm going to have to do.
I think there's a lot of people that might be sort of coming up to that point now, maybe having to learn that lesson later. It sounds like you learned that lesson really early. That,
I was lucky. I was on one property. And it was affordable in that sense. Yeah, so I was able to cover my payments. I didn't. The bank didn't come knocking on my door trying to repossess me or anything like that. I was able to cover it, but it took a lot of hard work. I was really sort of focused on getting out there, earning enough money to make sure I was, covering my mortgage and having some cash to live on as well. And that was a really good motivator, funny enough.
Yeah. So roll forward to the was the the self-build project, was that motivated by ROI or was it motivated by lifestyle, or where was that balance? Because they've ticked both those boxes, right?
ROI was probably not even an acronym I could spell at that point.
Right.
It was absolutely.
Can I do it? Can I create this? Is that
it was a case of, you can imagine we were looking we were looking for a slightly bigger property. It was a 2-bed, and we were thinking about, at some point we're going to want to raise a family, and we were looking for, a 3-bed, maybe a 4-bed that would meet our requirements. And the area that we were in NR4 was lovely, but it was a very expensive area. And so we couldn't really afford the type of property we were looking for in that area. Hence, we started looking slightly further afield. And with that, then came this, golden opportunity for a plot of land with foundations laid and services run to it, and planning permission. So that was then this is really unusual, and not something I've really come across before or since. And that then became the sort of thing. Well, if we could make it work, actually, there's probably a fairly limited market for people who are interested in this type of project, this sort of scheme. And we're in a really good position in terms of we have no dependents. We're both earning an income, and we both have lots of time. So, despite us having 9-to-5 jobs, we didn't have children to worry about. We didn't have other dependencies. Our outgoings were relatively minimal. And so we felt that if anyone was going to do it, why not us? We're sort of mid-20s, full of energy, and raring to go. And so we inquired and we pushed for lending, and we were able to sort of get that over the line. But it was never about, could this be, could this generate a return? It was, we wanted a nice family home in a nice area, and also being able to sort of put our own stamp on it was a real kind of cherry on top, if you like. It just so happened that in doing so, we were able to generate equity as a result of having done that.